The Cleveland Browns had one of, if not the best draft classes in 2025, and they did it again this year, earning an A+ grade. So that makes me think that they might just have the brightest future in the NFL.
It all started when they traded down from pick 6 to pick 9 with the Chiefs and acquired 74 and 148 in the process. At pick 9, they would take Utah offensive tackle Spencer Fano. Cardinal Tate was probably the pick at 6 for them, but when the Titans took him at 4, trading out made the most sense as they were not going to take any of the star defensive prospects at 6, given how loaded the defense is. And Spencer Fano is an A+ pick. This is a team that had one of, if not the worst offensive line in football, whether it be due to injuries or player regressions. They completely overhauled the unit, signing guard Zion Johnson, center Elton Jenkins, and traded a 5th-round pick for right tackle Titus Howard. So this offseason alone, they brought in 4 new starters, truly solidifying the group, and Fano is just a very athletic tackle. He had a 3-cone drill in the 93rd percentile for offensive tackles, a 10-yard split in the 85th, and a 40 in the 96th, and his lower body just moves so well. He's so fluid with his movements, which allow him to get to the 2nd and 3rd level better than any other offensive tackle in this class, and is good against those speed edge rushers who can bend around the edge, only allowing 5 pressures on 382 pass blocking snaps last season. But he can struggle against power rushers and needs to get stronger. His anchor has to get built up so he can stonewall those power rushers, not that many offensive linemen can, but to have a better chance. The great thing though, he's only 21 and will be for half his rookie season. He's young, he has time to develop and get stronger. Nobody is at their full strength as an offensive lineman at 21 years old, and this team isn't ready to compete yet. He's truly going to be a great left tackle for this team, and then at 24, they stuck and picked Texas A&M wide receiver Casey Concepcion. I love this for a Todd Monken Browns team. And why is that? He will be his version of Zay Flowers, albeit with more snaps in the slot, but he'll be that speedy, elusive yards after catch threat that isn't just a gimmick receiver. Concepcion can make contested catches, catching 2/3 of his contested targets last season, and he just gets open. He's a natural separator and he fights through contact very well, so I really love the pick. Even if I think Omar Cooper Jr. was the better player, I think Concepcion is a better fit for Todd Monken's offensive scheme, given who he has worked with in the past. The Browns double-dipped at receiver, taking Denzel Boston at pick 39. I may have been lower on Boston compared to others, but he is still a solid X receiver, and getting 2 of the top 6 receivers in the class for a wide receiver room that was a tragedy last season, on top of Spencer Fano, is a great way to support whoever your quarterback of the future is. Denzel is a 6'4", 210-pound receiver, which is an elite build for an X receiver. He can separate better than those like him in previous drafts, for example, a guy like Xavier Legette, so I don't worry about that as much. He dominates at the catch point, can beat press man, is a solid route runner for his size. Nobody is winning the battle of physicality against this guy, and he's truly a draft steal at pick 39. I thought they might have taken him at 24, or maybe Kansas City took him in the late first, and if he didn't go in the first round, there were 4 teams ahead of them in round 2 that could have taken him. It's a great process by Andrew Berry, getting these 3 guys in the top 40 and letting the board fall to him. This is now a pass catching room with Denzel Boston and Jerry Jeudy out wide, Casey Concepcion in the slot, and Harold Fannin Jr., the most overthought prospect in 2025 at tight end, and adding an improved offensive line with Quinshon Judkins, who reports say he will be back by camp, and Dylan Sampson at running back. This offense actually has a chance to be a solid unit. We know they most likely do not have the quarterback in the future, but this is a great foundation for whoever they take in the 2027 draft. And if you think Concepcion or Boston will outplay their projections in 2026, there's no better place to play that than on Underdog, because it's the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. All you have to do is pick higher or lower on 2 to 8 of your favorite players' projections, and you can win up to 5,000 times your money. Better yet, when you sign up with code JOEFB and play your first $5, you get $50 in bonus fantasy entries and a gimme pick, and this is all on top of the 50% deposit match they give every user. Right now, they have the extender promo for the NBA playoffs, which basically is just you use the 20% promo, the second you use it, you get the 30%, all the way up to 100% every single round of the playoffs. Make sure you sign up for Underdog with code JOEFB. But back to 2026, they didn't stop there with those 3 offensive guys. They trade up from 70 to 58 to take a top 30 player in the class in Toledo safety Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I'm not a general manager or a scout, and I will never claim to be, but what did NFL personnel departments not see in this man that he went at 58? You had a good safety to this secondary that already has some playmakers. He can play deep safety, the big nickel, but most likely deep safety at the NFL level. But he does have great size at 6'3", 201 pounds, slim frame, but tall height. He could get bigger as his time goes on in the league. To be that deep vision safety and that watches over the field, and he has the range to cover the whole field, maybe he can come down, play in the box here and there, and he'll make plays in the run game too from that deep safety position. He could process what is happening in front of him very well, and he can make plays on the ball for a defense that needs guys who can create turnovers in the secondary. I love this pick. This is just another great process by Andrew Berry. You trade up, giving up a 4th round pick to get the 2nd or 3rd best safety in the class, depending on who you ask. He can come in and make a day 1 impact on this defense, potentially starting on a unit that is already elite. And then after round 2, they got some solid players, like trading up to 86 for offensive lineman Austin Barber, after trading out from 74, the Chiefs pick, to get a Giants 2027 4th, using the other 4th round picks they acquired to go back up to 86 to grab Barber. There is a chance he kicks inside to guard even at his 6'7 frame, but either way, this is a great developmental piece and a great run blocker who could become a future starter for them after maybe Zion Johnson doesn't work out, or Tevin Jenkins doesn't work out. Who knows what'll happen on the interior offensive line, or maybe he just sticks at tackle. And after that, the Browns had great picks on day 3, like Alabama interior offensive lineman Parker Brailsford, who is a very athletic center who is great at getting that first punch, and he could develop into their starting center someday. Even though he's undersized, he still dominates in the trenches. Then taking a gamble on Justin Jefferson, no, not the Vikings wide receiver, the Bama linebacker, who is a solid athlete who does not miss tackles and is an okay coverage guy. I like the flyer at 149 for a guy like this who could come in and be a good depth piece behind Quincy Williams and Carson Schweschinger. And then quarterback Taylon Green, the definition of an athlete running a 4.36 40 with a rocket arm, but he just can't place it where he wants it to go. Why not take a flyer on a day 3 quarterback who maybe could do something else in the league? This is an A+ draft. You get at least 4 guys who can come in and make a day 1 impact at key positions. The wide receiver group and offensive line were terrible, and I mean terrible last season. You had 3 starters in the first 40 picks, all with elite upside. Just wow. But this is a running football team despite the 2 receivers. They signed fullback Michael Burton, drafted the 2 backs last year, and revamped this entire offensive line with guys who are good in the run game, with the 3 draft picks, a trade, and 2 free agent signings for a reason. Todd Monken wants to run the football and work off that with play action, which is a situation where the presumed starter Shedeur Sanders was not good in, but they have the weapons now for him to work with, so maybe we see some progression and with new coaching. I know it may sound like this team is a quarterback away by how I'm talking. While on paper they have a solid roster, made good moves in free agency, and had an A+ draft, there are a few areas of weakness. The front 4 outside of Myles Garrett is worrisome for a couple of reasons. Alex Wright is okay, but he's more of a rotational edge rather than a starter. Malik Collins is great, but he's 31 years old and you are on a different timeline, and Mason Graham still has a ways to go for his development. He's definitely a solid player right now, but you hope he can turn to a star taking him that early in the 2025 NFL Draft. He showed us flashes last year, but we need him to put it all together, and I think he can. Their linebacker room is elite, with Defensive Rookie of the Year Carson Schweschinger and Quincy Williams, who was signed this offseason, and I like the secondary group. You just hope that Mike Rutenberg can come in and try to replace some of Jim Schwartz's defensive play calling, even though he is a first-time play caller on that side of the ball after being the defensive pass game coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, who had a good secondary last year. And yes, their offense improved a lot. It is miles better, but the guard spots I still worry about. Zion Johnson, plain and simple, is not a great starter in the NFL. Just ask Justin Herbert. And Tevin Jenkins is okay. I don't know how I really feel about him as when you're starting guards, but it's not the worst player you could have there. Elgton Jenkins at center is solid, but he's not in their long-term plans at the position, as you can see in the draft, and the fact that he only got a 2-year deal. But the tackle spots are locked up with Fano and Titus Howard, and if the draft picks work out, they have a good skill position group now. There's a lot to look forward to with the Browns in 2026. Their offense won't be as anemic as it was last season. The defense hopefully can provide similar production without defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, but I love the direction the team is going in. I gave them a B+ last year after the draft, and that grade is now an A after the rookie seasons, and an A+ this year. Stacking back-to-back great draft classes is hard to do, but when it is done, teams see results fast. They already did this with their 25 class, and the 26 class is debatably better on paper. Andrew Berry truly put on a masterclass with his moves in the draft, getting 4 top 35 players in the first 58 picks, being aggressive to get them, plus solid backup and developmental O-linemen in Austin Barber and Parker Brailsford later on in the draft. I love this class, and it's clearly the best of any team this year. Mix this with the solid free agent signings, they are just a few moves and 2 to 3 years away from being a playoff hopeful. 2026 will not be a contending year for this team, we know this. But after all the moves they've made last offseason and this offseason, with 10 draft picks in the 2027 draft, which is absolutely stacked, especially at the quarterback position, the Cleveland Browns might just have the brightest future in the NFL.